Welcome back to 32 team 32 team 2013 NFL season, motherfuckers. Let's get to it. I know I said there wasn't gonna be a video. I took some Dayquil. I said, let's get this fucking shit. We're in week 9. Week eight's completed. We're not gonna do a week 8 recap. We're gonna do a league overview of the league. Start with the standings. At the top of the league. Well, we'll get into that later. Let's go division. No, you know what? Let's talk about the AFC and the NFC instead of doing divisions. AFC. The top of the AFC is the Houston Texans, who are 6-1 under rookie quarterback Geno Smith, who is right now the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the year. The Texans are really good. Um, on a 4-game win streak, and they are led by rookie Geno Smith. The Colts are 6-2, play in the AFC South with the Texans, so that would be an interesting battle moving forward. They are second in the AFC. They would be the 5 seed if the season ended today, because the Texans would lead the division. Obviously, they're 6-2, second year under Andrew Luck. Last year, obviously, they went 8-8. Um, Chuck Pagano, got leukemia, missed basically the whole season. Bruce Arians, who is now the Cardinals head coach, was the interim. They didn't do very well. They kind of late season collapse, finished 8-8. Here they're 6-2. They're going to look to make the playoffs for the first time under Andrew Luck. The Jets, who have a negative point differential, are here third in the AFC. They are first in the AFC East. Um, Yeah, I mean the Jets are here. Mark Sanchez is playing really good football, and that's why they're 5-2. Bengals atop the AFC North with a 5-3 record on a 3-game winning streak. They are undefeated on the road, one of the few teams that are undefeated on the road. As you see, we'll just get into that. There are 3 teams undefeated on the road: the Texans, the Bengals, and the Jaguars, who only 2 wins are on the road. Besides the point Bengals, there they are. You have the Broncos, who are on a 3-game losing streak, but they are still a really good team. They are my pick to make it to the Super Bowl. I think come playoff time, nobody's deeper than them. None of these teams above them, and none of these teams below them are deeper than them. They are atop the AFC West. Then you have the Chargers. First-year head coach Mike McCoy coming over from the Broncos has them 4-3, tied for first in the AFC West, but the Broncos have the tiebreaker. Patriots second in the AFC East, 4-3. It's not looking good in New England. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl last year, have made back-to-back Super Bowls. Won one of them against the Eagles, lost against the Giants in real life. From that Eagles Super Bowl on, or Patriots Eagles, that's my world. Real life, obviously, they made it and lost to the Giants. Super Bowl 46. Have the Bills, who are on a 3-game winning streak, including wins over the Broncos with rookie quarterback E.J. Manuel. The Chiefs are 4-4 with the league's best score, the AFC's best scoring offense. Steelers are 3-4, and then the Dolphins, Ravens. Yes, the Dolphins, Ravens, and Browns are 2-5. The Ravens are a little bit of shock. They just aren't very good this year. Um, I don't know really what it is. They just aren't as good as they were last year. Last year they were a game away from being in the Super Bowl. This year they're 2-5 and would have a top 10 pick if the season ended today. You have the Browns, which are expected, but they are improving. I see their point differential is only 12. Um, so that's a lot of one possession games right there. Then you have the Raiders 2-6, the Jags 2-6, and the Titans 1-6. And a report just came out from Adam Schefter that the Titans have fired Mike Munchak and are moving on from Mike Munchak after a 1-6 start to this year and a 6-10 season last year. So, I'll write a little story about that. And the Mike Munchak era in Tennessee is over. But that's the NFC. But that's the AFC. We get to the NFC at the top. We have the New York Giants. Last year they went 7-9. This year they are 7-1 on a 7-game win streak. Eli Manning, for the first time in his career, looks like a top quarterback. Um, they're the team to be. No, I mean, I think the Packers are the team to be, to the team to beat in the NFC. But the Giants are right there too. They won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Could they get there again? The Falcons under Matt Ryan, who is most likely going to win his second MVP in a row. The Packers under Aaron Rodgers, his team is good defensively. Then they don't turn the they lost the Bears game because Aaron Rodgers threw an interception on the possible game-winning drive. You have the Panthers 4-game winning streak under Cam Newton. He's playing really good ball. Have the Eagles. Excuse me. Bless me. Who are 5-2. They started this year out really, really rough, but they've picked it up. They're 5-2, and they'll be playing postseason ball for the second straight season under Andy Reid, or a lot of seasons under Andy Reid, but second straight season in my universe most likely. You have the Bears 4-3, another team that started out really, really slow, but kind of picked it up as the season has advanced. That's why you never want to press the panic button too early. Excuse me. Bless me. Bless you. Thank you, Quinn Williams. You have the Rams, who are kind of a surprise team, but rookie wide receiver Tavon Austin is having a really good year, and that's part of the reason they are 4-3. The Seahawks 4-3 on a 2-game win streak. They started the year out 0-2. The Saints are 4-4 under Sean Payton's return. San Fran 3-4. Detroit 3-4 on a 3-game winning streak. Jim Schwartz, is he coming to save his job after an 0-4 start? Tampa Bay's picked it up 3-1 in their last 4. The Cardinals, Cowboys, and Commanders all have 2 wins, and the Vikings are 1-7. And with the Minnesota Vikings, obviously this team went 9-7 last year. They were 1 game out of the playoffs. And they fired head coach Leslie Frazier. Was the most shocking hire in the offseason, and that is looking like a huge mistake. They hired Jim Caldwell, the former Colts coach, and I mean it's bad. They're 1-7. Christian Ponder looks bad. They're probably gonna end up taking a quarterback. They traded Percy Harvin, got a first round pick. Adrian Peterson cannot stay healthy. He came back. He finally came back after his first injury and got hurt again with a broken thumb or hand or something, and he is out for like another 4 weeks, I want to say. So the Viking season is over. It's been over for a while. They won the first game of the year. Okay, yeah, the Vikings are good. They're going to be all right. They're going to be that same team they kind of were last year, a bubble team. No, they're the worst team in the NFL. Divisions, okay, quick look at that. Not really many surprises other than seeing the Jets number 1. The Vikings at 1-7 is a little bit of a shock. The Bucks being so bad after a really good season last year is kind of a surprise. But that is everybody's league standings. You take a look at let's take a look at some statistics first. I want to show the coach statistic. These are every coach's records throughout, and you get to some of the coaches on the hot seat. You have Lovie Smith. Obviously, in real life, he was fired in 2012 following a 10-6 season where they missed the playoffs. If the Bears missed the playoffs, he's a name to watch to be fired. They obviously won the playoff game last year, and then ended up losing to the Seahawks in the divisional round. But he's a name to watch, and they can't really come to terms with a long. They can't come. They haven't been able to come to terms with a long-term extension with Jay Cutler. So maybe a new coach, a new regime comes in, wants their own quarterback. We'll see what happens. The Bears are a team to watch if they miss the playoffs. It's a big if because they are a really good football team. Other guys you can see on the hot seat is Mike Tomlin's seat is warming up. It's very rare to see the Steelers switch head coaches. They've had 4 head coaches in the history of their franchise. But Mike Tomlin, after a 5-11 season last year, they're 3-4 this year. They look dead in the water. Could we see a change at head coach? I don't know. But it's a name to watch. Chan Gailey, another name to watch. Obviously, they just drafted a new quarterback. It's kind of a situation where can he hold on to his job? They made the playoffs last year. They overachieved, but They had high expectations. They went out. You know, they thought their team was good enough where they could draft a rookie quarterback when it wasn't really a need. He kind of handled the Ryan Fitzpatrick situation a little bit weird. He went out and signed Mike Wallace. He hasn't been great, but he's another name to watch. Romeo Crennel, name to watch. Um, if the Chiefs missed the playoffs, so they went out traded for Alex Smith, who's an MVP caliber quarterback right now. They have a lot of talent, but if they miss the playoffs again, Romeo Crennel will be on his way out. Rex Ryan saved his job with the way they're playing this year. Jim Schwartz, he's the dead man walking unless the Lions get 10-6, 9-7. He's pretty much a dead man walking. Jim Caldwell, his first year with the Vikings, but once again, somebody that I could see getting fired after, especially how disappointing this year has been. They're 1-7. This is a team that came in with really high expectations. So a name to watch. Jim Harbaugh, a name to watch after a really good first year in 2011 where they made the NFC Championship game, an 8-8 season last year, and they're 3-4 right now, probably on pace to be 8-8 again. They need a new quarterback. Colin Kaepernick is not the answer in Santa Clara, and I think they got rid of the wrong quarterback, trading Alex Smith, who's now a MVP caliber player. Mike Munchak obviously has been fired. I just haven't adjusted everything yet. He went 16-23 in his tenure as the Tennessee Titans head coach. Greg Schiano, not really someone on the hot seat. You have Dennis Allen, who is on the hot seat. You have the first year head coaches down here who are not on the hot seat at all because they took bad jobs. We take a look at the stats around the league. Leading passing yard leader, you have Matt Ryan with 2,700. He's on pace to throw for about 5,000 yards. He's probably going to match. He's going to have a better season than he did last year. He has a better passing rating through 8 games right now. He's on pace to have more yards. He's on pace for the same amount of touchdowns, less interceptions. I mean, this guy is freaking good, dude. He is, as you can see, is getting paid a lot of money over the next 7 years. So a name uh, that I expect to be the MVP. You have Eli Manning really have himself a top quarterback season. Drew Brees, Alex Smith, like I said, an MVP candidate. RG3 really having a second year explosion. You have Tony Romo, who just broke the passing yards in a game record. And just received an extension from the Cowboys. Peyton Manning is down here. Andy Dalton, Josh Freeman. Don't know if he's going to be retained by the Buccaneers. Matt Schaub, Tom Brady, Andrew Luck, Sam Bradford, Brian Hoyer. Those are the guys over 2,000 yards. Carson Palmer, Phillip Rivers, Jay Cutler. You see Aaron Rodgers having himself a good year. Good touchdown interception. You have Ryan Tannehill, who he's an interesting guy because if the Dolphins are in play for a top quarterback, they might look to move on. 2 years of Ryan Tannehill, is it enough to say, all right, what is he? 22-12 in his rookie year, 11-9 so far now. It's probably too early, but you always have to ask those questions as management. You have Cam Newton's having a good year. Russell Wilson, Chad Henne, a bridge quarterback. The Jaguars are going to go out and hire their own or get their own guy this offseason. Drafts up whoever draft. You have Big Ben. Christian Ponder's not having the season he had last year. You have Geno Smith. Larry is completing 70% of his passes, 13 touchdowns, 1,700 yards. Matt Stafford's down here. See Mark Sanchez with 0 interceptions. EJ Manuel's there. Colin Kaepernick, who just isn't very good. Joe Flacco is having a really not good year, especially when you compare that to what he had last year. Was a really good quarterback, completed 68% of passes for 29 touchdowns, 7% less completion percentage. Not even going to come close to 29 touchdowns in my eyes. Let's say it's a great second half of the year, and 20 less passer rating, and obviously they're locked in. You know, they're locked in with Joe Flacco for a while now. Obviously, when the guaranteed money is off after 2017, they can easily get out of that contract. But it's gonna be tough to get out of this, and it looks like so far a bad move because Joe Flacco doesn't look very good. You have Michael Vick, Ryan Fitzpatrick for the Titans. Jake Locker's down there, Tavares Jackson. These are guys that get in games and blowouts and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. So that's the passing statistics. Rushing, Steven Jackson, who have 0 touchdowns but is the leading rusher on the season. You have Jamal Charles, who's back from his injury. Ray Rice, who's only played 5 games. Big part of the why the Ravens are so bad is because of Ray Rice only playing 5 games. Doug Martin, C.J. Spiller, Lamar Miller, Matt Forte, Frank Gore, Darren McFadden, Adrian Foster. You see Trent Richardson's up here having a really good second season. Le'Veon Bell, second round selection for the Steelers. Latavius Murray, late round pick. But yeah, rushing is a little bit down this year. You have LaShawn McCoy's only played 4 games. He's finally back from injury, which is good to see. But these are just guys down here. So you have Mark Ingram, who's been a touchdown machine this season. And you have Danny Woodhead, RG3, blah, 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 blah. Got a bunch of bums. See, Adrian Peterson's played 2 games. Right now, he has a broken thumbs out for 2 more weeks. He's played 2 games. Last year, in what was, how many games did he play last year? He played 14 games and had 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns. He's only played 2 games this year. Has 15 carries for 102 yards. It really sucks because he is just so good. And he led the league in rushing yards last year. He was a Pro Bowl. He was an All-Pro last year. So it really sucks to see him all the way down there just with injuries, and it's really sad to see, and that's a big part of the reason why the Vikings are not very good. Receiving wise, Victor Cruz leads the league in not receptions anymore. That is Jimmy Graham. But in receiving yards and touchdowns, tied with the rookie DeAndre Hopkins. Jimmy Graham's up there coming back from his injury. Last year, I think he only played 9 or 10 games, not even. He played 5 games. Wow, yeah. So he was on pace to have a really good year. Uh, was out for the rest of the season, having a really good bounce back year. AJ Green, Wes Welker, Demarius Thomas, yet 2 of the Broncos. Des Bryant, Brandon Marshall, rookie DeAndre Hopkins, Rob Gronkowski. You have Julio Jones, who just came back from his injury. There's Tavon Austin, 7 touchdowns on the year. He's such a dynamic player. Um, just a lot of guys. There's 2 more Falcons, Dallas Clark and Roddy White with 8 touchdowns. Um, Rookie Tyler Eifert. There's Mike Wallace not having the year he quite had last season, where he had 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. He only has 451 and 3 so far this year. Hasn't been able to grasp that magic. Cordell Patterson, first round picks right there. Jamal Charles having a really good season through the air as well. Always good to see. Um, Devery Henderson is there, which is kind of crazy to see him. He's a 31-year-old, 9-year veteran last year. Had a similar season, but he's probably going to beat out all those stats, although they just did trade for Eric Decker. Blocking, nobody cares about. Jonathan Vilma continues to be really good. He was pretty good last year, I want to say. Yeah, 94 tackles, 1.5 sack, and 2 interceptions. He's probably going to be better than that this year. 76 tackles. Got Bobby Wagner up in there, Levante David, Sean Lee, James Laurinaitis, the replacement for Ray Lewis, having a good year. That is another big reason why the Ravens aren't as good. Obviously, James Laurinaitis is a good player, but you have no Ray Lewis, you have no Ed Reed. I mean, those are guys that are kind of irreplaceable. Tackles for loss leaders: Kevin Williams, Cameron Wakes up there, Darnell Dockett, who's a draft day trade, Thomas Davis, Tyson Alualu. Sacks, you have J.J. Watt with 10.5, Gerard Mayo with 10, KJ Wright with 9.5, Joyce Peppers 9, Lance Briggs 9, Von Miller 8.5, Ray McDonald 8.5. You see the reigning defensive player of the year is all the way down here. Robert Mathis. 6 sacks for the guy who broke the record last year with 29.5. So not quite the same production he had last year. 6 interceptions for Antonio Cromartie. 5 from Luke Kuechly. 5 from Darrelle Revis. Traded from the now. Imagine if the Jets still kept Darrelle Revis. I don't know if they would have been good because then they wouldn't have got Cordell Patterson, who's really allowed Mark Sanchez to become a good quarterback. I guess you'd say it allowed him to become a good quarterback. Not great, but Darrelle Revis got the big contract. Has 5 interceptions and 1 last year. Did he play? Did he get hurt last year? He didn't. He played all the games. Okay. Um, but obviously, yeah, he got a big payday as well, and he has definitely earned it. 5 interceptions. Antoine Betha, Josh Norman, Darius Slay, rookie. A lot of guys on this list. Kicking. There's only one oh never mind. Well, you have Matt Bosher who kicked a field goal. Dustin Hopkins, Brendan McManus, Brett Maher, Caleb Sturgis, Randy Bullock, Shane Graham, Greg Zerline, and Josh Scobie are all 100% from the field goal line. Um, Phil Dawson has attempted the most, has also made the most. The longest field goal was 65 yards by Justin Tucker. That breaks the single season record. Matt Prater hit a 63-yarder. Matt Prater's had 2 field goals blocked this year. Most extra points made goes to Ryan Suckup. Also have the most attempted. Uh, a lot of guys tied for first. Tied for 100%. Actually, have we had any missed extra points? Yes. Connor Barth, Phil Dawson, Dan Bailey, Justin Tucker, Nick Folk, Nate Kading, Orlando Marr, Graham Gano. Or they all missed 1. Graham Gano has missed 2. Dan Carpenter's missed 1, and Jason Hanson has missed 2. Um, who's made the most 50 or yard field goals? Steven Goskowski is 6 for 7 on 50 plus. Automatic. Punting, Brian Anger punts the most. The Jags, shocker, right? And the Texans punt the least. Huh. That is interesting. I would not have guessed that. No kick return touchdowns. A couple punt returns. Jamar Charles, Lamar Miller, Marshawn Lynch, and Arian Foster. So those are the statistics. Getting the team stats. Number 1 offense, the Chiefs. The worst offense in the NFL is the Eagles. I would have never guessed that. I thought it would have been probably the 49ers, Lions, or Titans. I would have guessed the Patriots would have been down here. But the Eagles, this team was in the Super Bowl last year. Obviously, the Chiefs are there. They are really damn good. The worst passing offense is the Eagles. The best is the Falcons. The worst rushing offense is the Falcons just because they pass so much. And the best is the Texans. Excuse me. The least points per game is the Titans at 14.7. The Falcons have the most at 34.1. Most passing touchdowns, Falcons, Chiefs. Most rushing, Chiefs, Chiefs and Texans. Least amount of passing is the Titans. Least amount of rushing is the Lions. Most first downs, Saints. Least first downs, Titans. That's the offensive statistics. Defensively, the worst defense is the Vikings. The best is the Texans. The best passing defense is the 49ers. The worst is the Vikings. The worst or the best rushing defense is the Packers. The best or the worst. The best is the Packers. The worst is the Jaguars. The least points allowed go to the Packers. The most goes to the Vikings. Most sacks are the Bears. Least are the Falcons. Most fumble recoveries are the Bears and Steelers. Least are the Falcons, Cowboys, and Saints. Most interceptions are the Colts. The least are the Patriots with 1. The best third down team are the Packers. The worst is the Jaguars. The best fourth down team is the Colts and Texans. The worst is the Eagles at 0 and 5. They are 0% completion rates. The best 2 point percentage team is, I'm not even doing all that. Who has had the most third downs? The Commanders. The least? The Seahawks. The most third down conversions go to the Colts. The least go to the Dolphins. 33%. That is awful. The most fourth down attempts goes to the Vikings at 13. I mean, that makes sense. They're always losing. um, red zone efficiency. The best red zone offense is the Saints and Raiders. The worst is the Bills. The or the best red zone defense is the Bills, and the worst is the Steelers. But they don't really do that, right? It's because, like, who lets up the most amount of field goals? Does anyone let up more field goals than touchdowns? No, doesn't look like it. Yeah, nobody allows more field goals than touchdowns. But, like, Packers only allowed 15 attempts. Penalties. 49ers have committed the least. Bengals have committed the most, followed by the Jaguars, Bears, Commanders, blah, blah, blah. Turnovers. Eagles have the best differential. The Cowboys have the worst, and the Titans and the Patriots. So that is the team statistics. We'll look at one more thing. And that is the injury report. Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, this is huge. Dante Hightower back from injury for the Patriots. That's a big gain. Bears, Lance Lewis and Michael Bennett. Kyle Long and Marlon Moore for the Bengals. Bills known. Andre Caldwell for the Broncos. They will not activate him. Buccaneers, Gerald McCoy and Isaac Redman. Tyrann Matthews out for the year with an Achilles tear. Eric Weddle has a broken hand. Victor Butler has a dislocated ankle. Sean Porter is out for the year. Justin Houston out for 4 weeks with a partial ACL tear. Yikes. Colts are healthy. Jay Ratliff, 3 weeks. Dan Carpenter got hurt. He'll stay on IR for the rest of the year. They're going to roll with Brett Maher. Matt Bryant got hurt. Michael Turner is hurt. Jaquiz Rogers is hurt. Akeem Dent is hurt, but Jaquiz comes back next week. Frank Gore is out for 7 weeks with a dislocated ankle, but Colin Jones is ready to come back. They will not activate him. Linval Joseph, broken toe, 7 weeks. Maurice Jones-Drew out for 1 week with a dislocated elbow, and Ziggy Ansah, first round pick, out for 7 weeks. How has he done this year? The numbers speak for himself. That isn't very good for the 4th overall pick. Nick Mangold out for 2 weeks with a foot fracture. Jeff Otah, who they signed. Oh, yeah, they signed Jeff Otah for a lot of money. Not real. For a good amount of money. Felix Jones out for 7 weeks. Jamaica Finley, Ryan Pickett, and Giovanni Bernard are all out for the Packers. Panthers have Orlando Moore out with a knee tear. He'll be on IR for the rest of the year. Sebastian Wilmer, Rob Nikovich, and James Vereen are out for the Patriots. Brian McCann for the Raiders. Scott Wells and Jolon Dunbar for the St. Louis Rams, who will put him on IR. Ravens are healthy. Commanders. Trent Williams is hurt. Ryan Kerrigan is hurt. Roy Hulu is hurt. They won't activate him. Jarvis Jenkins is ready to be activated, and they will activate him. DRC is out for 3 weeks with a dislocated ankle. Seahawks are healthy. Steelers Ziggy Hood out for 2 weeks. James Rodgers for the Texans out for 4 weeks. Obviously was with the Falcons last year. Had a good season. Caught 463 yards on 30 catches for 3 touchdowns. 23 catches, 285 yards, and 4 touchdowns this year before he got hurt. Signed a pretty big contract. And the Titans, you have Chris Johnson, who is going to be out for the rest of the year. They're going to place him on IR. You have Nate Washington, who's hurt. You have Kenny Britt, who's hurt. Eugene Amano's hurt. Pierre Thomas is hurt. Jonathan Casillas is hurt. Wow, I didn't realize how hurt the Titans actually were before actually taking a look at it in a video like this. So Chris Johnson's season's over. 63 carries, 384 yards, two touchdowns. Could he be somebody that we see be let go? You're going to have a new regime, obviously, in Tennessee, and the past 2 years, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. In 32 possible games, he's played 12. Do the math. That isn't good. They went and traded for Pierre Thomas for the situation where Chris Johnson got hurt. They could still run the ball effectively. He's been hurt. He only played 6 games. So it's not good. The Titans are in a really bad situation. And the Vikings got Kerry Williams with a broken tailbone. He's out for the season. Look, Leroy Guin and Adrian Peterson. Once again, Adrian Peterson just got that big extension. I doubt they let him go, but you have to start asking questions. He can't stay healthy. He's really good when he's on the field, but you're paying him so much money. He's only played 2 games this year. Not even, and it wasn't even a full 2 games. How many snaps did he play? Let's look at that. He has 15 carries. So I imagine he probably played around 30 snaps. He's played 24 snaps this year. That just isn't good. You want players that play. That is the week 8 mid-season league report. Um, so a lot of questions will be answered. This is March for college basketball. Really unexpected becomes the norm. Kansas is going to win it all. That's besides the point. So a lot of questions will be answered this next 8 weeks. And I will see you at week 13 when we do a 3/4 league report. Actually, I don't know if I'm going to do that. Peace out. Usher.